Jeff Quinby. I'll mostly be running the show over here.
And I'm Rachel Davis, and I'll be talking to you about formatting and walking you through the activities today.
Cool. So let's get started. What I want you guys to do is I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine you're going to Facebook and you want to communicate with your friends and family, and you don't have a computer monitor. So what you have is a robotic voice, and it kind of sounds like this.
Visited link graphic Facebook logo. Table with 3 columns and 3 rows. Email password, password, password. Edit login button. Keep me logged in. Checkbox not checked. Keep me logged in. Link forgot your password.
A little confusing. What you just heard was a screen reader called JAWS, and a screen reader is just a software that takes what's on the screen and reads it out loud to the user so that they can try and interpret what's actually being displayed onto the screen. Some of the people that are going to be using screen readers are people that are visually impaired, or people that are blind and are unable to see what's actually going on the screen. And so now what I want you to think about is if you ever tried to order a sub from Subway, which is the #1 franchise in America, this is what their website looks like. It's pretty nice. But however, if you were somebody that's using a screen reader and you went to this website, this is what you would hear.
Table, column, table with 2 columns and 2 rows. Visited link graphic top nav bar / subway underline header underline veg top.
Something interesting to mention, if you just happen to go to this website, you don't actually hear that you're actually on Subway until about 10 seconds into the website. What you want to do, and what we're going to talk about today, is some accessibility ways so that you can kind of get a good grasp of what's actually going on the website, and so that people using screen readers are going to be able to navigate your website quickly and efficiently. And so today what we're going to talk about is how you can meet accessibility requirements using Section 508. And Section 508 was enacted back in 1998 by the Congress. And basically what it says is that all federal agencies, including UCF, so everybody here, will have to make their electronic information and documents accessible to everyone, no matter what their disability is. And so some of the things we're going to talk about today is using a proper color scheme and properly formatting your documents in HTML so that you can comply with Section 508. And so let's get started into some of the aspects of why you should use HTML rather than using a PDF or a Word document when you're making your documents. One of the things that you should consider is that HTML is going to be a little easier to be accessible. Screen readers are made to navigate the web rather than trying to navigate all different sorts of programs. And so something you should consider is that when you're formatting your documents, unless you're going to use it for print, you should try and make it in HTML format. Because some things like font size, so if you're a low vision user, you're not going to be able to see the text on the web page as well. So what you can do is you can hit the Control+ command on your keyboard, and that'll increase the font size. But with things like Adobe PDF, you don't actually have that ability. And so that's just something to consider. But regardless of if you use a Word document, PDF, HTML, you want to consider color contrast. And so that's one of the things I want to talk to you about today. And when you're using color contrast, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically when you overlap 2 colors, you want to be able to easily see what you have on the text. So some examples of good color contrast are going to be black on white or blue on yellow. Now some examples of bad color contrast are red on green or light blue on pink. Now these are kind of hard to see as is, but what you should also consider is that 1 in 20 men in America are actually red-green colorblind, and about 1 in 200 women have this disability as well. And so if you were somebody with this disability, you would actually see these color contrasts like this. As you can see, it's not very easy to see, and it's definitely going to decrease your accessibility and not get your content out to everybody as well. So now that you have an idea of color contrast, we're going to go into an activity that we'll be using throughout the presentation. And some of you guys have the source code handout. Some of you have bought your laptops. If anybody doesn't have these devices, let me know and we'll get you set up. But what we're going to do is we have a sample document. Go ahead and show the document. This is what it kind of looks like. And if you were somebody that's just a low vision user and you went to this website, you would be kind of stressed to read the text. Even if you weren't a low vision user, you may still be kind of stressed to read the text. And so what you want to consider is that good color contrast I was talking about. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to take you through changing the color of this background text to a good color contrast scheme, such as the black and white contrast scheme I was talking about earlier. And So what we'll do is we'll open up our Dreamweaver, and we have our cascading style sheet right here. And what we want to do is we want to change this to a black font, which is going to be 6 zeros. And you go ahead and change that. And what you do is after you save that, if you go ahead and try that on your document or your laptop, you should see something like this. And if anybody has any questions about how to do that, feel free to shout out. And somebody will come around and help you out. Write it on your handouts as well.
Which sample file should we start with?
So I mean, you can kind of mess around with the style sheet if you want. If you downloaded it from the website that's on your handouts there for the additional resources, you can kind of mess around with it on your own and change up the color contrast scheme. A good way to tell if like your scheme is contrasted well is just to like try it on a projector, because projectors have a tendency to blur colors together. So this way is just like a really good way to kind of see, does this contrast well? And as you can see, black and white and yellow and blue, those aren't the only two schemes that work well, but they work well for most users, so they should be some colors that you should consider when making your website. So with that, that's the color contrast scheme of this presentation. I want to turn it over to my colleague Rachel Davis. She's going to talk a little bit about how to format your documents using HTML.
Hi guys, once again, I'm Rachel Davis, thank you Max. And again, I'm going to be talking about formatting elements. And the elements that we're going to actually be walking through and changing and talking about are headings, lists, tables, links, images, and we're going to cover videos as well. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to walk through the document, and the first thing we're going to talk about is headers. One of the main things that we want to keep in mind with headers is a lot of people use headers right now for style. If you want a big font, for instance, a lot of people automatically choose H1. They don't realize that H1 to H3 to H6 to H2 technically isn't semantic. And semantic is basically implying meaning or the way that a document is structured and organized. So what we want to do and keep in mind is that screen readers actually navigate via links and via headings. So when you're going through headings, they can go from H1 to H2 to H3. So if it's not properly organized, then they can't go back and forth. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to open the activity and the document, and we're actually going to listen to the document to see how it sounds right now.
JAWS, my sample page heading level 3, my...
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to navigate through the document real quick. I can navigate by headers, so I can go skip through, but if they're not in order, it makes it a lot more difficult.
List heading level 1, ordered list heading level 5, unordered list heading level 5,
See if I wanted to go back to the top,
links heading level 1,
I can't.
no next heading at level 1 in this section.
And while visually this looks fine to us, for a screen reader, it's very hard to kind of visually, think about how this is organized. And a way that we kind of like look at headings is sort of like when I'm looking at a syllabus. When I'm looking at a syllabus, I'm easily trying to find, okay, what is ordered list, underneath is under list. So we're going to actually go through and correct the headings so that way screen readers can actually navigate properly. And so when we're looking through the code, we can also figure out how the document is organized. So go ahead and open Dreamweaver. And if you're trying to look for the first thing, like what's the title of the document, what's the name of my page, I wouldn't know that this is the title because it's not an H1. Usually we typically like to have one H1 in a document because that's sort of like saying this is the title of our page. So for example, the title of my page is my sample page, that's going to be the H1. So if you go ahead and correct the H3 to an H1 now, we're also going to be having other Tech Rangers walk around just in case you're confused or get lost or if you're going a little bit too fast. So the first thing we're doing is we change the H3 to an H1. And the next thing we want to do is go to the first subtopic of the document, which is list. So list will now be changed into an H2. underneath that is ordered list. Structurally, we have it sort of indented, sort of saying this is a sublist of lists. So that will then be turned into an H3, not an H2. The same thing will be done to unordered lists. The H5 is going to be an H3. So in terms of hierarchy, we can obviously see H1, H2, H3, H3. The sublist of H1 tables is correct right now. And so if we scroll down a little bit further, links should be in H2. Images should be in H2, it's not a sublist of links. And just think of it as data. If you had more content, like say you were having an image gallery or saying, here, take a look at some pictures of my family, we would want to change that sub heading to an H3. So I believe that's all of our headings. If you guys need any more time, let me know. Is everyone okay? Perfect. And again, we're actually going to go back and we're going to listen to the page now that we corrected all the headers.
My sample page dash Mozilla Firefox. My sample page heading level 3.
We just have to
My
refresh the
sample
page.
page heading level 1.
So now it's heading 1.
Lists heading level 2. Tables heading level 2. Links heading level 2.
It's a lot easier to go through the different sections now that they're all the proper heading.
Images heading level 2.
I need to go backwards if I need to.
Links heading level 2. Tables heading level 2.
So it's a lot easier to go back and forth between the headings now. Where before, if I wanted to go to the very top of the page, I wouldn't be able to because it wasn't properly tagged. So the next thing we're going to talk about is lists. Now lists are very simple. There's usually only two, ordered lists, unordered lists, and some people consider definition lists as another list. Ordered list is just simply linear information, and unordered list is nonlinear information. If you can, place text in a sequence or progression, then you most likely will want to put it in an ordered list, sort of like instructions. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to see what it sounds like when you don't put, ordered information in an ordered list. So what we did is we put a sequence of steps in paragraphs. The biggest problem is say there was 20 steps or 5 steps in order to boil water. If I was a screen reader and I was going through, it wouldn't tell me that there was 5 steps. It would read out to me the 5, 10, 15 paragraphs, but I don't understand that there's 5 lists. So we're actually going to listen to see how that sounds.
Just going to navigate there real quick.
Lists heading level 2. Ordered lists heading level 3. Lang. Here is an ordered list about how to cook pasta. Here is an ordered list about how to cook pasta : 1 right parent fill a pot 2/3 of the way with water. 2 right parent place the pot on the stove and set the heat to high. 3 right parent once the water starts to boil add the pasta period.
So I could go on and on and on, not knowing when this list is going to end. When you put it in an ordered list, the first thing you hear is a list of 5 items. So that really helps screen readers, or even just the way that it's, semantically organized when we're going back through the document and seeing how it's, listed or organized. So what we're going to do is we're going to correct the paragraphs and turn it into an ordered list. So the first thing you want to do is obviously open up the ordered list tag. And every paragraph item is then going to be turned into a list item. And so if you need any help with corrections, let us know. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to delete